you grew up looking for life, though, as everyone is, and you went into lots of different things. And do you want to just talk about a little bit about that, kind of what you got yourself into to some extent, why you got into that, and then the place of desperation you were at of needing life and how Jesus met you in that?
So I always felt quite detached. And one of the most amazing things about this journey that I've been through is the Christian faith is not a religion. It is a relationship between our Creator and ourselves. And God wants us to win, but it's not an easy road to be a Christian.
So tell us a bit about your story, your testimony.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a Christian family, so I've known Jesus my whole life. I've been taught about him, and I've loved him my whole life. And I think there hasn't been like a specific moment of like, this is when I decided to follow Jesus, because I feel like it's been my whole life. But I think, as you do when you grow up in a Christian family, you have to make sure there is like a turning point of when your faith becomes your own. And I think that probably happened in high school, where I realized like I want to be like, I know about God and I love God. I want to be like all in for him.
Yeah. So grew up in the mission field, grew up in a family that, loved Jesus, and Christianity, the faith was huge part of our household. But like for everyone, I think I had to go on that journey myself. And so that looked like at least being indifferent about it for a while. Not rejecting it entirely, but not knowing how deeply it related to my life. And then probably my late teens, early 20s, I began to realize that this wasn't just about believing something. It was more about who you became. Like, so much of following Jesus is about becoming like Jesus rather than just listening to him. It's a transformational experience. And I began that and am still on that journey, and realized that Jesus reveals who God is, which means he reveals the very nature of being. But he also reveals what it means to be human. And a faith that integrates me into my own life, that I don't have to check my life at the door when I walk into church. I can bring the entirety of my experience, is an incredible, baffling, bewildering, but hopeful experience.
Our podcast called Hope and the City.
Yeah, brilliant. Like we talked about when we met last week, everybody needs hope. Everybody's looking for hope. And we were talking about what hope is. We talked a little bit about my story, which was my son, James, who'd had cancer a couple of years ago and passed away in 2022, and where I found hope in that place. So, it was just such an honour to be able to share that story again.
It was an honour to be present as you shared it, and to consider really a hope that I think we would say, first of all, stands up to real life. So when we talk about hope, it's not an anesthetic. It's not a sort of crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. If hope is real hope, it stands up to real life. And as you shared, even death. If hope can stand up to death, it's real hope.
What I love about the Brave Conference is it's growing. It's grown a lot, but it's not too big. So for people who maybe are not used to kind of going to conferences, it's a great way to kind of come and support the city that we live in, although there are people coming, from all across Devon. And the themes that we kind of focus on each year, I still remember last year's theme was Found. This year's theme is Speak Life. And I think they touch on issues which are so important to women.
It's just the norm. This is how the family is, and this is how we're gonna go about things. And we're helping Dad out because he's at work, and it's not fair for him to have to come home and do these things. So as a 12-year-old, doing dishes, doing washing, helping pay bills, it just became a complete normal thing to do.
That's a lot of responsibility at the age of 12, particularly in today's society. Is that a fairly common situation, Anna?
It is, yeah. I think that the numbers of carers that exist in the city are far greater than we have any idea of. Statistically, they think it's 3 in every classroom, whereas actually when I'm reaching out to schools and colleges, we're not getting that kind of response. So yeah, there is such the unknown workforce, as they're called, working behind the scenes and helping out their family members.
There was a good reason Christ died on a tree. You see, in the beginning, we stole from the tree. God put back on the tree what was taken by me. Everything that was taken, he restored it for free. His hands were pierced because my hands took the fruit. His feet were pierced because I stood there to loot. His side was pierced because Eve came from a rib. And thus he atoned for the wrong that she did. You see, Eve was the first to fall into temptation, so the second Adam made a complete restoration. He wore a crown of thorns because thorns were a consequence of the damage we did with our first disobedience. He paid the full price of our fall in the garden when he sealed our redemption with his ultimate pardon. On his own head, he carried the ultimate curse so that all our wrongdoings he could fully reverse. There was a good reason Christ died on a tree, because in the beginning we stole from the tree. God put back on the tree what was taken from me, so he paid for my eternity.
Though you have your doubt, it'll all pan out. So stay true, stay strong and carry on. Stay true, stay strong and carry on. Stay true.